Morning, Gillian. How are you?
Good morning, Peter. Yes, I am really well, loving the fact that it's a nice, bright, sunny day.
Yes, and I think it's fair to say you haven't had many opportunities this year to say that. However, today it is very, very well justified and most welcome. And speaking of most welcome, Gillian, welcome to the Business Spotlight. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me today. Could we start? Could you tell me a little about yourself and your background and your business, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So my background, I actually had never intended to be a dietitian, but I met one when I was doing some research into heart disease in 1993, and I then qualified and have really been working the best part of 30 years as a health worker, expert in nutrition since then. And I set up my business in 2008 to kind of take that step a bit further out of the NHS.
And I'm detecting that that's possibly not a Northern Ireland accent, Gillian. I'm taking a wild stab in the dark on this one. So what's the connection with Northern Ireland, please?
Yep. So that year that I was doing research into heart disease, I from London, but I moved here to do research into heart disease because it was one of the highest capitals of the world at that stage, and it was a really great project for the World Health Organization. So I moved to Northern Ireland for the year, worked at Queen's, and met my other half, who is still in my life, and we've got three happy children.
Fantastic. So that was the Northern Ireland connection, and you're still here to this day.
Correct. Yep, that's it.
Brilliant. Okay. And look, tell me, Gillian, what was the spark that led you to launch the business?
So for me, I actually was a specialist in hematology at the City Hospital, and I was loving that, to be honest. It was my goal, dream job. And then I actually got really sick in my third pregnancy, ended up actually in the Royal with a thing called quinsy, which is a really nasty throat infection. And all they could do was actually attack my tonsils with a lancet and let all the bacteria drain into my gut. So long story short was I did recover, but having three small children, I always felt exhausted and didn't feel great. Went to the GP and said, look, I'm not feeling the best. Could you check my vitamin D levels? Because at that time, vitamin D was a big hot topic. And I was thinking, yeah, I haven't had a holiday in a long time. Northern Irish weather, it's never good. Maybe, vitamin D is my problem. And actually, it was a great chance to check a couple of other bloods. And sure enough, my thyroid had stopped working, which was not even something I'd ever considered. But when you piece all the jigsaw puzzle pieces together, it was very clear. So I started taking medication, thinking that would be the answer, and actually it wasn't. And I felt that I was on this journey, and it was quite lonely, quite I suppose overwhelming, that I didn't know what was going on. So I spent then the following year, while my kids were all under the age of 4, working on looking after them, working on myself to get better. And actually I realized that there's a lot of people out there that don't have that support or knowledge or understanding of what's going on, and they live in that same bubble. Like, I couldn't walk hardly, I could hardly talk. It was an effort to do things. So I got back to being 100% again. My thyroid antibodies completely resolved, and so basically I put myself out of an autoimmune condition and into remission. So that was a massive win. And so, as you probably are aware, health professionals do not look at number one as you and make that decision to then treat everyone else. But actually, when I set up my practice, I taught and educated so many people in various things, but it did actually, come back to my knowledge of everything that I'd learned. And that's where my success in my business has come from. So I take people as that jigsaw puzzle and put them back together from cellular level up.
And if I think of that jigsaw puzzle, so who's your target market? What sort of people benefit most from working with you?
Yeah, it can be a variety of different complexities. It can be as simple as just people with gut health issues that can never get past that sense of, oh, it feels good today. Oh, no, it's bad tomorrow. Let's take some medication. I'm on Gaviscon. Oh, now I'm on PPIs, which are, a bit more significant, and they shouldn't be on them. And then they're stuck in this rut. That's one massive group that I look after. And then there is the autoimmune groups. And that can include people with, blood sugar control, obesity, lipid problems. They often all have a very background that's similar. We look at the bloods, we check that they're all optimal, because GPs, and I'm married to one, they don't look at bloods the same as I do. I look at the optimal for things to work. GPs are just probably more focused on the fact that you're not out of limits that are dangerous and going to, end up in a serious condition. So from the point of view, I look at those. We go through dietary important changes, lifestyle changes, and basically create a whole new kind of direction for that individual to follow. And I always explain to people, I'm a bit like a gardener. Now, we can all go to the shop, we can all buy food. I can go to the supermarket and buy a whole load of plants. Do I know where to plant them? Are they in the right sunshine? Are they getting the right soil? Are they in the right wind direction? Is the sun enough? We can all plant plants, but are they going to grow and live forever? And that's what I do for people with their diet. I pick the foods that suit them for their lifestyles and for their health conditions, to make sure that they don't just go on a journey that's short-lived. So that's kind of what I do.
Brilliant. I love a good analogy, Gillian. That's a belter. And what would you say has been your biggest lesson as a business owner?
Oh, gosh, that is a massively difficult one to answer, because there's so many. But as a business owner, I think sometimes you actually realize that what I do is not that successful, because I fix people so they don't return. Most business owners get returning customers. So I've learned that, I just have to keep pushing myself out there to show that I fix people. And that's what's brought more, so it's actually the networking side of things, and making sure that those patients can go away and tell their friends, I went to see Gillian Killiner. She fixed, I don't have any problems again. So for me, that was my biggest lesson. I don't get repeat customers unless, obviously certain things go on and people do come back. But on the whole, it's not like I have captured someone and they're with me for, several years.
And what about, are there any business leaders that have inspired you, or you've looked up to, or have influenced you along your journey?
I suppose there's a few, and funny enough, I was watching what's his name, Lord Sugar, and I think he is pretty amazing man. He's still super funny, super obviously smart, but also super relatable. He just manages to understand the dynamic of the businesses, and he knows how to deal with people, and I think that's a huge skill that he has.
And tell me, what gets you out of bed in the morning? What drives your passion for your business?
Good question. In terms of that, I would say I don't feel my work. I do work long hours. I'm at my computer from 7:30, 8 in the morning, and I might not finish till 11 at night. But I don't feel it's a chore often. Now, I think the hardest stuff is all the day-to-day things that can go wrong in a business, and we all have them. But for me, the passion is helping others, knowing that they're sitting in front of me going, oh my goodness, she's going to tell me to eat lettuce leaves, and that's going to be just torture. And when they actually leave my office or leave the computer that we have maybe an online appointment, they're like, oh my goodness, you understand exactly where I'm coming from. This sounds amazing. I'm so excited. And it's almost opening a new chapter for them and holding their hand to get them to the next, big stage in life. And that for me is just wonderful, because I didn't have that. No one was able to help me. And I actually, you go through dark times, and you don't want that to be the case for other people.
And if you were on a desert island and you were allowed a book or a podcast or both, what would you choose to read or listen to?
Gosh, it would probably be something scientific, something genetic, something that gets me, fired up about something new. So at the moment I do a lot of nutrigenomics information. Not many people know much about it. So, you know, it's an area that I'm passionate about because it's so important. But like that, it's always a learning every day. You're learning something new. So something genetical, probably that way, nutrigenomics. And then as a podcast, there's loads out there. I can't pinpoint one, but ATP Science is an Australian group that I kind of find fascinating. So I'd probably be listening to them.
Superb. And so tell me now, we're not quite there, but we're approaching the midpoint of 2024. So what are you most excited about for the latter part of 2024 or beyond?
Well, this has been something that's been a long term in the making, and trying to dissect myself out of my day-to-day patient workload to try and create new programs for people that they can access, that are much more that they can work through themselves, so that they don't have to always see me. I've worked on a whole new pilot of projects that I know will work for people based on my experiences, knowledge, and so on. So it's kind of an invest in your health series. So I'm hoping to get that on the road and out online.
Brilliant. And if somebody likes what they've heard and would like to reach out and get in touch in some way, what would be the best way to go about that?
A few different ways. You can certainly go onto the website. So my online business, or my online website, is www.121dietitian.com. So it's the numbers. Or they can Google me, Gillian Killiner. They'll see a load of information. There's contact details there. They can call, email, message via different social media ways, or LinkedIn even. So a variety of ways.
Brilliant. Well, Gillian Killiner from One-to-One Dietitian, thanks very much for educating me and indeed many others as well on what's a fascinating subject and a really hot topic as well. So thanks very much for sharing your story and your time. I wish you every success for the remainder of 2024 and beyond. And thank you very much.
Pleasure. Lovely to see you, Peter. Thanks very much. Bye.